In today's video, we're going to be unboxing Resident Evil 2 by Steamforged Games. Hey, what's up everyone? Colby here, aka Serial Killer 02 on Twitch, Instagram, and here on YouTube. Today I'm going to be doing an unboxing video for Resident Evil 2, the board game from Steamforged Games. And if this is your first time, welcome, thank you for stopping by. If you like what you see, please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the alert button. That way you know whenever I have a new video pop up. I try to do one each week, so hopefully I will be able to keep doing that. So, today's video, I am going to be doing an unboxing for Resident Evil 2 by Steamforged Games, like I said earlier. And if you know me, I was hesitant to get this game. And reason being, I am not a fan of Steamforged Games. And that is because I am a Dark Souls backer, and we are still waiting on some of, well, all of our stretch goals and even some boards for one of the expansions that has already been delivered. The game was supposed to be delivered in 2017, and we just got the expansions. We're still waiting on our stretch goals. And they are terrible with communication. They are trying to get better at it, but with this game, I'm such a die-hard Resident Evil fan that it was hard for me to pass up. Whenever the Kickstarter was going on, we had still not gotten our expansions for Dark Souls, so I did not back it. And then I saw that it had released, so I watched a lot of videos on it and ended up falling in love with the gameplay and the way that the game really mimicked what was in the original Resident Evil 2 game. And so it was one that I ended up buying a full all-in Kickstarter pledge off of somebody for base price. So today I will be showing you what comes in the base game for Resident Evil 2, and later on I will try to do an unboxing of all of the expansions. That way you can kind of see everything that is within the game. So I have taken up enough time. Let's go ahead and take a look at what is inside the box. First off, let's take a look at the outside of the box. As you can tell, it has the iconic Resident Evil 2 cover from the video game. You've also got Steamforged Games down here at the bottom, as well as Capcom. Shows it's a 1 to 4 player game with the ages of 14 plus, anywhere between 90 to 120 minutes to play. When you flip it over, it kind of shows you exactly what the board will look like as you play. Shows you a couple of the characters that come in the game and all of the components. So here it says you have 24 highly detailed plastic miniatures, 26 double-sided game board tiles, 44 terrain elements, 155 cards, 4 player health track boards, 5 tracker dials, 6 dice, 40 tokens, 1 rulebook, and 1 scenario book. I know it's kind of hard to read up here, so I'll read that real quick. It says, "Night has fallen over Raccoon City, and a shroud of darkness hides the horrors within. A viral outbreak has brought this once prosperous town to its knees, infecting the populace and turning them into ravenous undead monsters. It is into this nightmare you are now thrown. Another survivor desperately trying to escape with your life. Along the way, you'll have to aid others like you, battle enemies unknown, and search for the sinister truth behind this disaster that has befallen Raccoon City." Resident Evil 2, the board game, is a fast-paced cooperative survival horror game for 1 to 4 players. In order to survive and complete each scenario, players will have to work together and discuss the best way to advance. With only limited resources at their disposal, even the most accurate character won't be able to defeat every enemy. And if one character dies, the whole group loses. Players will have to quickly learn when to stand and fight and when to flee. Carefully designed from the ground up to deliver a terrifying and immersive experience faithful to the cult video game. Dare you try to escape the nightmares? So there it is. There's the outside of the box. Now let's take off the top of the box. And the cool thing about this is, for anybody that has played the board game, you know how the game starts with that scene right there. This game contains scenes of explicit violence and gore. I remember as a kid, I saw that and I was like, yes, let's do it, because I think I was 13 when this came out. So violence and gore and all that kind of stuff was just awesome back then. And so them adding that just puts a real cool aesthetic to the box. Right under that, you will see the rule book for the game, and it is 23 pages. So it tells you all you need to know about how to play the game, gives you a little bit of an introduction. The artwork is awesome. It sticks to the Resident Evil artwork, and I mean, that's the life tracker. So you actually have the life tracker from the game, and even the characters look like they did from the game. So that's a really cool way that they have it set up. As you can tell, the zombies, everything from the original game has been used, and so I think that's really a cool way they did it. And then right under that, you come to the board game scenario book. It's got the liquor on the front, and then obviously you know who that is on the back. So you open up the scenario booklet, and it tells you exactly how to set everything up. Right here it starts at scenario 2A. 1A is actually in the rule book, and that kind of helps you get everything set up. So that's the map tiles you would use, and you go through and set up based on these scenarios. And then even on the back of it, it's got really cool aesthetics from the game. Congratulations, the ranking, all that kind of stuff. I think it's really cool the way they have that set up. Now we come to something that I am not really impressed with, and that's the map tiles. As you can tell, the map tiles are dark. There is nothing I can do to try to make these any lighter, because they are honestly lighter on the screen than they are in person. So I understand what they were trying to go with on the darkness of the tiles, but I feel like they kind of missed the mark on what they were trying to do. What the tiles are printed on is really nice and it's thick, but the tiles are very, very dark. So, and as you can tell, it's hard to see, but this is the door token. And so that's how you tell if a door's open or closed. That one's closed and that one's open. As you can tell, it's pretty hard to see what the tokens are showing. So that is kind of one thing that I am not very excited about, but that's all right. You've also got all the map tiles are actual scenes from the video game, so that's cool. I just feel like they could have lightened them up and made them a little bit easier to see. So once you go through all those tiles, you will come to the other tiles that have some different things on it. Here's another thing that I am not a huge fan of, and that is, these are the walls. These little black lines are the walls that you put on these boards. So I will go ahead and pop one of these out, and I will kind of show you what I'm talking about. So what you do to know where a wall is, you take this black, straight black token, and you put it on a really dark tile. So that's the wall. That is one thing I am not too impressed with, but that is okay because I have a 3D printer and somebody has created doors that work with this game that open and close, so I can use those instead. But people that don't have stuff like that, like a 3D printer that they can use, that kind of gets in the way. And so I have been printing doors for a lot of people to replace the wall tokens and the door tokens. Actually, I've been doing a lot of walls as well, but for both of them, I actually have a 3D printer where I can print that stuff. So for me, it's okay, but I know for a lot of people, they don't have that option. So that's something that's a little disheartening and something that could have been taken care of pretty easily. Now, if you look here, you have got a dial, and that is going to be the boss health dial. And if you look, it's kind of hard to see, but the number goes up to 29. So the bosses can get pretty difficult if you're not careful. And on this tile, you also have the health markers, and that's for the health track. And then you've got different types of doors. And then you also have the typewriters, which are right here. So with the typewriters, what you can do, if you've played the game, you know the typewriters are how you save your progress in the game. It works the same way in the board game. You have to find an ink ribbon, but when you find an ink ribbon, a character in the same or a space that's adjacent to the square who actually has line of sight to a typewriter, they may spend an action to refresh the tension deck, which I'll get into here in just a little bit. And by discarding an ink ribbon, you get to shuffle and discard piles together. Shuffle the draw and the discard piles together. And after that's done, you remove the typewriter from the playing area. So that's kind of a cool aesthetic that they put into it, as well as using the typewriters to refresh and do new things for the game. Right under that board, you have got some of the stuff for the characters. And as you can tell, some of the tiles were starting to fall apart, so I apologize. Here's the health track. Anybody that's played the game knows how it works. So you will drop down a little bit every time, and so you start off fine, and then you go down to danger, and then you die. Then with that, you also have all the different weapon dials, and those dials give you the different ammo that you will have in your weapons. And this game, you do not have a lot of ammo, so you have to be careful with every shot that you take. You do not want to take a shot every single time you see a monster, because you're not going to have enough bullets to do that. And you have to remember, you're about to see some major bosses, and I will show you the models for them in just a little bit, but this kind of gives you an idea on how big these bosses are, because that's them compared to the figures that you play as. So the bosses in this game are huge. And then you also have sustained effect tokens as well, and you've got wound, and you've also got wound tokens on this board. So like I said, it started falling apart on me, and I apologize for that. But here is another tile, and it's got more of the gun and ammo tracks, as well as ink ribbons and corpse tokens that you lay down. And then everybody knows what the flashing pieces were, and that is different things you can pick up within the game. So they've used everything from the video game in the board game. And so I think that is really a cool idea that they have done, and something that is really neat that they've added to the game. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at what is under the tokens. You have got a really nice little case for all of the models, and it comes with a cover so nothing falls out, so that makes it nice as well. Now that we've taken the top off the tray, let's go ahead and look at some of the stuff that's in here. So starting off with the equipment cards, as you can tell, there is tons of different stuff that you can find throughout the game, and this is what those little shiny tokens are for. So there's different keys that you have to get. You've got the first aid spray. As you can see, you've got a blue herb down here. And let's go ahead and take a look at what is on the handgun, and I will kind of explain what the little icons on the handgun card mean. So if I can get this focused here, if you look here at the top right, it shows 15 in a magazine. That means that you have 15 shots with this weapon, and that's what you would put on the dial for this gun. And then right here actually shows the range that the weapon has, and this has LOS, which is line of sight. So anything that is in the line of sight for this character, they can use this weapon to try to make an attack. Right here, the little blue square, it shows a 1 in it, and that's how many dice you roll. Now, here are the dice. I will go ahead and show this because it kind of goes with the next part of the card. So if you see here, it has the one hit symbol, and this has an arrow pushing back. So what that means is you have pushed the enemy back 1 square. And that is as long as it's not pushing them through a wall. So you've got that. And then if you get the double shot, which is right here, you would do 1 damage to the character. And then down here at the bottom, you have the special icon. And this one is a rapid fire. So when making attacks with a rapid fire weapon, a player may spend 1 additional ammunition point. So you would drop the dial down 2 to roll an extra blue die, or 2 additional ammunition points to roll an extra 2 dice. So there's a lot of things you have to think about when you're trying to play the game and wanting to try to attack an enemy. And then let's take a look up here at these cards. We will start off with the characters. As you can tell, Leon Kennedy, this is who you play as in the video game. So starting off, you've got Leon's name, and then, excuse me, over here, you've got the backpack, and this tells you how much inventory you can hold. For Leon, that is 8 different pieces of inventory. And each character has a limited weapon proficiency. And if a weapon is not pictured on here, then the character they can't use it to make attacks. And note that even if a character cannot use a weapon, they can still take it into their inventory. And because weapons in this game are far too valuable. So you can always take it and you can trade it with another player. And so that is something that's really cool. And then every character has a special rule that they have. So with Leon, it says once per activation, Leon may use an item while 1 or 2 enemies are in his square without making an evade roll. So that is an awesome thing that Leon can do there. Now, all of these cards, one thing that the book and nothing in the box tells you is these cards are already shuffled to start the game and set up. So I don't want to try to mess them up too much. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of go through and show a little bit of what each of these cards are that I can get to. Here you have an enemy reference card, and it starts off with the type of enemy that it is. And then over here, this is the health that the enemy has and the hit points. Then the next one is whenever a zombie performs a move, that's how far that zombie can move. And then right down here is the zombie's basic attack. And it's a listing of the range and the attack and the effects of if it actually hits. So there's those cards. And then these are the tension deck. So as you are playing, excuse me, you will have a number of these cards. And you have them flipped down like this. And after a turn, you will flip it over and it might say all clear. That's kind of what you want it to say. But there's also cards where it shows echoes in the darkness. And this means when you flip it over, something heard you, but it hasn't shown up yet. Then you could also come to something like this. And each one of these has a little bit of text to it. On this green one, it says, somewhere in the darkness, fingernails scratch against a glass pane. The urgency of the sound matching your racing pulse. And then you have this. Echoes in the darkness. Movement and sounds haunt your steps, foreboding darkness and hiding what horror might lurk within. Place an echoes in the darkness token on the tile occupied by the next character to activate. If a character is on the same tile as this token, at the beginning of their tension phase, they must draw 2 additional cards. Discard the token at the end of the next activation. If the next character to activate is on the same tile as a boss, this card has no effect. And then you have Undead Ambush. A dark silhouette is the only warning before glass shatters to jagged shards and death resumes its tireless pursuit. Spawn 2 zombies on the same tile as the active character on the closest, and then it has the hazard symbol. That symbol is the spawn point. So on the tiles that I showed you earlier, there is, on some of them, you have got this little spawn point here. And that is where you're going to put zombies whenever they show up. So there is kind of that rule as well. And so those cards can be pretty treacherous if you get the wrong ones. And so you've got all of those cards. And then there's different setups, like this is for the G Mutant, which is one of the bosses. Now that we've looked at those, let's go ahead and take a look at kind of some of the cards for the monsters. And as you can tell, they are wicked. The artwork is fantastic on these. So you have got these where you flip it over and it'll tell you lurch forward, acidic bile, monstrous sweep, and then it has different icons on it. With those icons, an attack profile, this indicates the boss makes an attack, prioritizing the active character as the target. If the active character is out of range, but the boss may attack another character, the boss will attack that character instead. So there's a lot of different icons and a lot of different things that each of them do. And right here, this is one of the powerful attacks. I'll go ahead and kind of explain that. If the all icon is displayed next to the range of a boss attack, the boss attacks each character in line of sight and range of the attack. So it can be pretty treacherous if you get too close to a monster when they are making an attack. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the figures that you will get with the game. So let's just start up here and we will go around. I've zoomed out and kind of focused it a little bit closer so I can hold the models up so you can see them better. Starting here, we have got Birkin Stage 3. And I know it's a little hard to see due to the light, but you've got the eyeball here with teeth and the 2 huge hands coming out. I mean, this thing is huge and it is evil looking. So the models, they look all right. They're not anything spectacular, but I am happy with the way that they have turned out. Now, here is the G Mutant, which is the other enemy, which you saw their cards, and they are a little bit hard to see due to the colors that they used, but I understand why they used the colors that they did. And then from there, we have got some of my favorite characters in Resident Evil, and that is the Lickers. And the Lickers are just evil little guys. I mean, they're just wicked in the game, and even in the movies. I just really like the idea behind those characters. So from there, we come to our first 2 heroes. And the first one is one of the characters that you play as, and that is Claire Redfield. And their models are pretty nice. I mean, you can tell they tried to get some detail, but there's still a little bit of flashing, which that's all right. That's easy to get off. They even put their symbol in the bottom. And like I said, the characters could look a little bit better, but that's all right. It's nothing that is a game changer. And then you also have Ada Wong. And so, I mean, the characters, they're nice. They stay kind of true to the 8-bit setup, and that's all right. I mean, I kind of like that idea that they tried to keep it close to the original game, because that's really what they were going for. So the next 2 that we have are going to be the 2 male figures that you can play as. First one is Leon Kennedy. And again, like I said, I apologize. It is really hard to show the detail. There is no real detail in the face. And so what you're seeing there, it doesn't look like he has a mouth. He really doesn't on this model. I don't know if that's a bad cast or if that's how it is with all of them. but that is how this one came. So you've got that, and then you also have Robert Kendo. And so those are the 4 characters that you can play as from the base game. If you were to get the other expansions and different things like that, you will get different characters to play as. And then from there, we come on to the zombies. And the zombies, they look pretty cool. I've seen some of them painted up, and people have done a very good job of making these things look pretty wicked and nasty. You get 3 different sculpts for the zombies in the base game. And like I said, the sculpts are nice. They're not anything that is just overly detailed or crazy, but the sculpts are still nice. They still hold a lot of aesthetics to the original game from PlayStation, and so that is awesome. So, I mean, those are really nice. And then from here, we go on to the zombie dogs. And so that is the different models that come in the game. As you can tell, there's a couple of different stances. So that kind of makes it really neat. While you're playing the game, you can have different setups if you want to, and different monsters jumping through the windows and doing different things like that. So that is the contents of the base game for Resident Evil 2. And there you have it. That is Resident Evil 2 by Steamforged Games. And even though I am not a huge fan of Steamforged games, I must say that they did a great job with this game. The gameplay is a blast. There is a lot of tension in the game while you are playing, and so that is awesome. The one thing that I really do not like about this game is the darkness of the map tiles, how the walls look. As I showed you, it's just a small piece of cardboard. I know that some people have actually thrown away those pieces thinking that they were miscuts. And so just the darkness of the components is something that I really wasn't a fan of. But I know on Resident Evil 2, the board game, on the Facebook group, somebody has actually fixed that. And so that is pretty awesome. But yeah, that is it for that board game. I hope you all liked it. If you did like what you saw and you have not yet, please hit subscribe and hit the alert button. That way you know when I come out with a new video. And also please hit the like button. And what do you think of the board game? Have you played it? Is this your first time seeing it? Please let me know in the comments, and let's have a conversation about it. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.